Well, it looks like we're live. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Happy hump day. So I hope what everybody get into this weekend. I was up there for Phil Billy's full moon festival, moonshine festival. Had a pretty good time, man. Quite a few people came out. Didn't get too hot. Got a little bit of rain, I guess Saturday evening. But hell, it was hot and muggy, so most people didn't mind. I stood out in the rain, let it cool me off, man. It felt pretty damn good. So y'all hear me all right? See me all right? Make sure everything's working. Looks like StreamYard has made some changes. I'm gonna have to tinker with some of these intro and outro videos. And what's going on, Dark? What's up here, Billy? What the hell are XP points? I don't know. In gaming, it's experience points, but I don't know what if they give you points if you more time you spend watching, you get XP points as you go, or something maybe. What's up, my grip? What's up, Curtis? Appreciate you, brother. All right, y'all know the deal. Let me share some of these links. And well, I better get the link first. Let me get the link. Okay. Let's see it. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. It shows it is on there. Maybe it's just a bit of a lag. I'll give it a second here. Here we go. Get a little longer lag than usual. Yeah, it usually just takes 30 seconds or so. It took a little bit. Anyway, I'll turn the volume up on that. I hate hearing myself. All right. All right, y'all talk amongst yourselves there. What's that from? Talk amongst yourselves. What show is that from? Let me get these links out. Hope everybody had a good weekend. All right, let's see if it's gonna let me share it with this mini. It usually won't. We'll see. Out. Well, we had a pretty good time at Philbilly's. First time I've been up to Dayton in ages. I guess the only time I never spent a lot of time in Dayton, just passing through on 75. But man, I never realized how spread out Dayton is. Man, it's like it's a lot of cities all focused, concentrated in one area. Man, Dayton is spread out over a large area. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of rural areas. I guess it might take up a lot of unincorporated towns, incorporated towns around it too. So I'm not sure exactly what's considered Dayton and suburbs and little townships but yeah, it's pretty big area, stretched out. I don't know what population wise what it is. Probably not as big as this city, but it was spread out quite a bit more than where I live here. That's pretty cool. Had a good time. Had a good time at Snickers Bar and Grill. Pretty cool place. Had some good food, good drink. Appreciate them letting us have it there. It was a pretty good time. Get that back just a minute. They're gonna stop me here in a minute. All right, just a few more to go. Yeah, I'm sure they're about to put the skids on me. Hopefully, I can get a couple more out. I don't get it out to your groups. I'm sorry. I try to share it as many of our groups as I can. I'm in a lot of different groups, so I've just got a little list of them. I go down through and try to hit them all. Sometimes I'm not able to get them all. I'll try to maybe go back in an hour and then add some more. Because most of the people don't. Surprisingly, when most people don't watch it live, they watch it during the week, I guess, while they're going to work, listen to it, and during the week or at work or some other time. It shows us all the statistics and all that, the when and where they watch us and how many and all that good stuff. And it's amazing how many more people watch it than just live right now. So yeah, I'm just gonna stop me right there. I'll go back and try to get on that later. But all right, so let me put the howdies out there. What's going on, Clint? What's up, Billy? Yeah, I think Dark beat everybody here tonight. He was the first one here. Yeah, back to the regularly scheduled program. I'm hoping everybody had a great weekend. I miss seeing everybody and chatting. Hope everybody having a good weekend. Had a good weekend and got some good mash going and some distilling going. Hello, Charlene. How's Richard doing? I do want to get this out here. I've got a lot of members lately that have either fallen ill or sick and or in the hospital or having accidents. I know Tom Purnell recovering from his surgery. Prayers going out to Tom. John Bentz had a what he said is a minor heart attack. So how Johnny is probably bad, but he had a minor heart attack while he was fighting a fire. So definitely prayers going out to John and hoping he recovers soon. Richard, I hadn't found out. I know Richard had a bad fever and came home from work feeling bad. I think Thursday or Friday, and then had to go into the hospital. And I haven't heard what it was, but I heard that he's doing okay and doing better. And prayers going out to Richard and Charlene. Hope he gets feeling better, brother. And prayers going out to Tom Crumb's family. He's son-in-law. Mom and dad and his grandparents had a car accident, and the grandparents passed away immediately, and the mom and dad's in ICU. So definitely prayers going out to them, and horrible thing to happen. And prayers going out to Daryl Flack, Uncle Dum Dum. He's recovering from he has cancer on his liver, and they went in and worked on that, and he's in recovery too. So prayers to all the family members out there that are recovering. Hopefully everybody's doing okay and getting on the road to recovery and doing better. And our prayers going out to them. So keep them all in your prayers if you can. All right, let's see. Yeah, toast to them all. Get better. I think this is our first question. If somebody else had one, let me know. Motor City. See, we got questions. Yeah, we're not going to turn it out like that. I did talk to the Outlaws. I was up there in Dayton. They didn't have that problem with it, but I don't want anybody, you know, wearing it and getting any issues. You know, it doesn't have MC. It doesn't have the triangle patch. It doesn't have any, you know, location or anything like that. But there's always some people that are going to take issue with it. So I think we're just going to try to sew it all together as one patch and put it on a shirt instead of a vest. So definitely don't want any of our brothers, you know, or sisters, you know, wearing it and getting into an issue or anything like that. But you know, just because the you know Outlaws in Dayton says okay, that doesn't mean you know Outlaws everywhere nationwide is going to be okay with it in every chapter. So and other groups, you know, pagans, you know, banditos, those angels, you know, all of them. Yeah, I don't want anybody, you know, getting hurt. But it would seem like a good idea at first. Well, you know, it might not be such a good idea. So we're going to, yeah, we're going to probably just sew them as a one piece and put them on a shirt. Yeah. For those that didn't see it, that's it. But we're gonna drop that down, pull that up, and take it off a vest and put it on and uh, and put it on a shirt. That way it should be okay. Just a second. Okay, so hey April, what's up, Crimson Rose? Yeah, hopefully, definitely toast to them, hoping they get better. Yeah, let's see what's the drink. Definitely need a drink today. Yeah. All right, I think our first question. All right, let me take the first question. Looks like Lee. How's the best way to learn to make cuts? That's the one thing you get stuck on. I would say the best way to do it is use small jars. So especially at the very beginning into hearts. So when you get to the hearts, are you having trouble identifying the hearts? Because usually you can smell that acetone and the nail polish taste smell go away. I usually don't taste it. Smell is usually good enough at this point. But using small jars, you really don't have to make. I'm not sure how big your steel is, but you don't have to make cuts per se. Uh, if you use real small jars, you can just do it all small jars, number them one to every how many, and then just start, you know, 3/4 the way through. Um, Man, I hate when they stream yard. Let's see, let me find my picture files here in just a second. Usually it defaults to there, but I had Alan Bishop on the last time, and I had a bunch of pictures up here for him of his distillery and stuff that we posted. That was a good episode. It's always nice to talk to Alan and have him on here. Very, very knowledgeable guy. Appreciate any time he can dedicate to coming on and helping us out. Here we go. Let's see. Well, man, I have more trouble with these damn pictures. I hate that stupid OneDrive, man. They said I maxed out on that, so I had to move everything to my. Okay, here we go. So this is a chart I usually pop up to help people make cuts, and it'll help me illustrate. So we're just going to call these a bunch of small quart, half quart jars, pint jars, whatever. Let's not use coarse. Let's use as small as we can. And let's just go ahead and run it all the way out. So, and label them. Put a little painter's tape on top of your lid and label it that way. You can do it every time. Just peel the tape off and do it again next time. That's what I do. And label them all. Okay, so when you look at them, you got pretty much 30%, 1 through 7, 40%, 8 through 14, and then 30% again, 15 through 20. So after you run out all of your jars and you know you're well into your tails, and you know, I recommend at that point just putting a bucket underneath it and just running your tails out. That way you can recover all the alcohol out of it you can, add it to your next run, and you know, recover some of that alcohol. But you can pretty much guesstimate about, you know, when you count the number of jars you got out there, you can pretty much guesstimate where 15 and 16 is going to be. So start tasting that. Start tasting 17, because the tail isn't a really offensive taste. It's just not a good taste, right? It's not like we're drinking a nail polish remover. It's going to be like wet cardboard, musty dog. I've heard it called a lot of different things. All those are pretty good descriptors. It's just going to be kind of musty, stale, damp, dank, you know, like an old basement kind of musty smell. It's just not good, you know. And you can tell that when you're in, especially jar 18, 19, and 20, when you get quite a bit of that green tail in there. You know? So you can kind of taste your way backwards. So, you know, taste your way back, and as soon as you get pretty close to where you're not tasting much of that at all anymore, keep that jar. Because once you blend that with all those hearts, that little bit you taste is gone, okay? And you want to try to conserve as much as you can. So jar 14, 15, you know, there's not a lot of difference, not a lot of flavor issues. So somewhere in there you're going to probably definitely want to save those. You know, 16 maybe, 17's pushing it. But when you get the dark blue over here, it really makes a difference. So anyway, taste your way back. So when you taste jar 13, 12, 10, you know, 11, you can definitely tell, wow, this is sweet, this is good, this is the bomb here, this is tasting really good. And then about the time you get to jar 9, going backwards, you know, I got a little bit of funny taste. 8, getting a hint of something there. It's a little bit different, but not too bad. And by the time you get to 7, 6, you 6 especially, you're really tasting. So when you go back like that, it's a lot easier. When you start out in the heads, you get that acetone on your tongue, and it's hard to cleanse your palate of that stuff. So it's going to be really hard to tell the difference between 7, 8, 9, because that shit's on your tongue already, and it's really, everything tastes like that after that. So I always just go ahead and another way, once you get more experienced, um, you put your fingers under the drip. So it's dripping, you know, and you can just put your fingers underneath there, kind of rub your fingers together, feel the oil, the oily clean or oily consistency, and kind of make it evaporate on your fingers, and smell. You can smell that acetone. You can smell that smell, and it's not good. So wash your hands, and then, you know, go on down the line a little bit more, put your fingers underneath there. When you get about to jar 7 and 8, you're not going to smell it as much anymore. You're not going to have as much oils on your fingers. It's going to be like squeaky clean once you get the ethanol, and then you're definitely, yeah, I'm not hardly getting that at all. I think what I'm smelling is actually what was on my fingers. So you know, but tasting it, you know, always work your way back, and you know, you'll definitely be able to tell. You'll be able to tell it, because you'll be going from a little dusky, dungy, and 16, 15 to, okay, that's good, that's sweet, wow, that's good, to 9 and 8. I don't know. I could taste a hint of it. But like with jar 8 and 9, by the time you mix that with all the, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, that little bit of blue kind of gets lost, right? Now, I will say that the temperatures that you see on this, throw that out the door. That's absolutely nothing. 185 degrees, and I'll show you why it's not worth much. Here we go. At 185 degrees, you would have to have 30 proof or 30% or 60 proof mash. I don't think so, before you're boiling off because it's an azeotrope. So I'm not sure who made that chart, but yeah, let's go ahead and throw these temps out. Now, if you're on like a fractional distillation column or something like that, or a different setup, you can go more by that. But for the most part, when you're distilling, you're not going to see anything happen until you get in the 190s, right? So if you got like a 12% or up to 18%, yeah, you're going to see something happen at about 192, right? And if you look at that bottom there, that's percentage. Now that's not. I'm sorry, that's not percentage. This is percentage, not proof. So we double proof to get percentage, right? So if you're seeing something at 185, man, it's going to be, it's going to be 30 proof or 60 proof or 30%. So nobody, that's getting close to the point where you don't want to distill, because 40 is about the limit there. 80 proof, 40%. So most of your stuff is going to happen. Most of your yeast will get you beyond 18% anyway. So it's pushing it, and you probably have way too much sugar in there. It's going to be hot anyway. But most are around 10, 12%. So you're going to be well into your 190s before you start getting, a lot of action. So kind of, don't use these temps up here. But also, you see the red over here in 4 shots. That red should carry all the way across in every one of those jars, reducing as it goes, unless, and by the time you get to the tails, there should be just a few dots of red. But it's this is just to illustrate what this is very general on how it works, because we do know that 4 shots carry all the way across. There's methanol all the way into your tails, right? Because it's an azeotrope. It's just less and less and less as it gets across, right? So hope that answers your question, Lee. Once you start doing it more and more, you'll get better. Once you start getting familiar with the smell, you'll start getting better at it. What's going on, Steve? Richard Henderson, Miss April. He had to go to the hospital, and I'm waiting for Shirley to tell me what happened. Maybe she'll tell me in the Facebook message. She didn't talk about it. And us. Yeah, I know, Mugris. We had the rockers on there. Some people didn't have a problem with it because there's no MC, no triangle, and no location. But because it's a 3-piece, others might. So we're just going to sew them all together as one big piece and put them on shirts instead of a vest. I was just wanting something for everybody to have. I wasn't thinking about any of that. I was thinking, as long as it didn't have that, 1% and all that stuff on there, it wouldn't have been a big issue. But I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I agree. Yeah, it's very safe and sorry. Yep. All right. Did a test batch a month ago, 130 pounds. Final gravity. Corn, rye, oats, wheat, and barley. Yeah. It got good and dry. Ran half, it was great. Yesterday I added 25 pounds of sugar and 25 gallons of water, and it didn't kick off. pH off the low scale. So interesting. Oops. So it didn't immediately start off. Well, I think next time maybe just, instead of, when you got half of it that's already fermented out, I would probably siphon that off and just use the flocculants or the yeast bed in it, and then mix that with water and sugar and get it going again. And then right when you're getting ready to, do it, then kind of combine them back again. That way you just don't mess up something that's already fermented, good and was working good and tasted good, right? But it's strange issue. I don't know if the yeast were still viable. Should have kicked back off. What was the pH? Yeah, I think I've talked to a couple of people that were going to do the same. It's it's a pride thing, they put a lot of work and effort into earning that patch, and I can see both sides of the story. It doesn't have the 1%, doesn't have the MC, doesn't have the location thing on it. It's not like one of those Sons of Anarchy vests that everybody's wearing around with an MC right there on it, and the triangle patch and all that. So, but it's a pride thing, and they put a lot of work and time and effort into getting that, and to have some group just come in and have members get it, by buying it, it kind of pisses them off. They put work into it, but it's not an MC thing. But because it's on a vest and it's a 3-piece, it's some people are gonna get pissed. Most probably won't, but there's always gonna be that one incident, and I don't want that one member or that one incident to happen to many of our people. So, you know, I guess, we'll just put it on shirts, but it's, it'll look cool on the shirts too. We'll show it as one piece. It still look pretty nice. And, you know, but there still may be somebody that's not going to like it, but what can you do? We're going to try our best to make it look like one patch and, you know, conform as much as we can. And there's pretty much a point where, if they're going to find something, just like that Moonshine Militia t-shirt, it's got a moonshine and then the skull with the hat, and then, different type rocker on the bottom. But, hell, you might have somebody get pissed with that, it'd be on a damn t-shirt. You never know. But we're going to try to limit the people that would say anything or do anything, when they see it on a shirt with a collar. I mean, we're doing all we can. All right, Clint, let me see what you reply with. I got to scroll down here. Damn, way down. Pitch yeast after it. Have to get the pH to 4, but it's 3.080. But you did bubble when you proofed it. Man, bro, I don't know. Yeah. I wouldn't say real bikers, but there's prospects out there that are, looking for ways to promote themselves. They come back with a vest they took off somebody and brag about it and showing it to all their buddies. Oh, look what I got. I peeled this off, peeled this off a dude, made him surrender it and all that, might make him feel good. Of course, some of the people in the group be like, why in the fuck would you do that? That's not an MC vest, bro. But I just don't want to be controversial and get anybody hurt. I just thought it was pretty fucking cool, and I really didn't think it would be a big deal. But after talking with some people, I can see where it might. And if it just happened to one member, that's one too many, you know. So we're just going to put her on a shirt and but I appreciate it. You know, I loved it, man. I spent a lot of time doing that artwork, getting that done, and it ain't cheap. Then that center patch ain't cheap. The rockers are cheap as fuck. You can get them for $20 on Amazon all day long, but that center patch wasn't cheap. You know, that's all embroidered. You know, it's kind of, I can't eat that cost. I bought quite a few of them, you know, to get that discount up, you know, with buying quantity. But that embroidery work ain't cheap. You know, that was a pretty costly patch. I guess if you dealt with it in MCs, you know what it costs to have that shit embroidered. All right, back to Clint. Pitch cheese. Now you definitely gonna have to get some new data, but if it bubbled up and you proofed it, made a good starter. I mean, in that and the last one you was using the same, so shouldn't be that. pH close to 4. 3 getting to 4 or 5 into 4. So if it was 3, maybe throw those eggshells in there. It's probably going to be, you just had to use that pickling lime instead, because that's going to bring it up really quickly. But yeah, like we talked with Alan, you know, last week, even in commercial outfits, you know, those oyster shells come in handy, and a lot of people use it. And most all your craft distilleries and stuff, it's kind of a untold secret that just have you that big old pouch of, and you can't use too many because it's just going to neutralize acid as it builds. So, you know, you just don't use so many. I guess that might affect your taste, but boil them and clean them up good, and you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have. I appreciate Kenny. Kenny was there to see it. Yeah, yeah. I've got a, you know, for some people that just want to put it like on their wall, because I've had a few people that just want to display it. They're not going to wear it. You know, it's hard for me to tell a grown ass man what he can do and can't do in the first place. But I just don't want anybody getting hurt, you know, because that would follow my conscience, and I'm not doing it for money, you know. So I just, you know, thought it was cool and would be nice for everybody to have one. But I don't want to get news that somebody got the shit beat out of them, put in the hospital, or killed because they was wearing that vest, you know. And I don't want to have to deal with that, you know. I definitely don't want to deal with that. Yeah, thanks, brother. Yeah, I haven't been feeling very well in the last few weeks. Hopefully, I've got to start feeling a little better. Yeah, yeah. I call them the low heads. Call the high heads what comes off kind of first, and the low heads can have some esters in it. That's why on that chart, you see jar 8 and 9. That's got some low heads in there, and those can add some sweetness in it. It's called esters, and they can add to some sweetness. So yeah, you don't want to necessarily throw them away, and they still have a little bit of heads. Technically, okay, for people that don't know, heads aren't what gives you blindness and all that shit. It's the foreshots, and those are very little, and those are coming off right at the mostly for the most part, come off right at the very beginning. Um, and to get enough to get blind, you would almost have to concentrate them. You'd have to take that jar number 1, throw it in a bucket, and throw every jar number 1 in a bucket and do what they call a faints run, but you don't have tails or anything. You just rerun that jar number 1 and then save the heads off that, or 4 shots off that again, which would be a huge portion of it, and then rerun that and concentrate. You know what I'm saying? And I think that happened in India a few years back, and they got some product that caused some blindness and stuff. But it could have been something else as well that caused that. But yeah, those low heads can have some pretty decent esters in it if you can isolate them. But you can see that ethyl acetate, acetaldehyde, acetone, that's pretty much what you've got in that dark blue. And the same thing the tails, when you get past 20, when you get to where you have just sweet water, where it's pretty much equalized, I think it's around 10 to 20 proof, and it comes off like that for quite a while. Those are called sweet waters, and those are pretty decent to proof with. You'll get a little extra alcohol out of it. It won't generally cloud up on you unless it's cloudy already in your towels, but it's generally a pretty decent thing to proof with, and you get a little bit of alcohol in it. But between jars 15 and 20, save those, because I mean, they're all that light blue. It's easy to recover that alcohol on the next run. Now jars 1 through 5, I never run that back. A lot of people rerun the heads. It's not worth it to me. The strong flavor of the ethyl acetate, the acetaldehydes, and the acetone, it's hard to distill out. It's what called smearing, and I can't imagine putting that back in there. So maybe jars 6, 7-ish, yeah, to put in with your tail bucket. But 1 through 5, hell no. Throw that shit out. You can do what you want. There's no fact behind it or anything like that. It's all opinion. Everybody's got their own set ways to do the thing. Everybody does it a little different. And that's all fine and dandy. I mean, I'm 100% behind it. But do remember, every time you do it, you're going to have more and more and more to cut. You're going to have all that to cut back out. Me and you both, brother. Yeah. All mine was under the old law before computers and everything came out. But I had 4 DUIs and 5 PIs and one driving on suspended. So I was a little troublemaker. Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely as like if you're in Colorado and Denver, you are definitely going to have a different boiling point than if you're in Orlando, Florida. 100%. Glad you mentioned that, my girl. So just throw that temperature out. All that temperature, I don't even know why they put it on there, because that ain't true. Now, I will say this might be vapor temps and not actual pot temps. When I talk about this chart right here, this is the actual temperature of the liquid in your steel, not the vapor coming off. So it depends on where your thermometer is to what you're going to read. But these are in your actual in your steel. So the temps will vary. Once it becomes vapor temperature, it'll be lower. So the vapor temperature is always lower than the pot temperature, because as soon as it starts rising, it's cooling off, right? That's why you get reflux in the column and the cap and the head and everything, because it starts cooling off immediately once it hits the air above the liquid. Now, if you have a real tall steel, a real tall, small rocket type steel, you can have a lot of turnover inside the steel and have hot temperatures at the bottom, boiling ethanol out that's coming out, and at the top it'd still be 5 degrees cooler, right? Unless it's getting mixed up real well. So that's another thing to consider. Appreciate it, brother. Awesome. Few 100 pounds left over. That's awesome, brother. Where you at? I'm sure we got some members up there that'd love to buy some or have some, or if you're offering over Santa some, if you're close enough, I wish if he's in Ohio, I'll be man, I didn't get up with it while I was up there. But where about you located, brother? I don't know. I don't want city and the subdivision. Just northern Georgia. Whereabouts? Well, I guess I got to scroll down and see the damn list. So I'm up here. It was in the low twos, down the high threes. High threes should be all right if you're using a good yeast. And yeah, usually with all grain it doesn't, but I guess where it sat maybe and got dry, and then you were adding to it with a lot of sugar and water. I'm sure it kind of energized it with just being sugar and water. You know how that works. So it got a little off kilter to how a typical grain would do, and did more like a sugar shine would do, or a heavily sugared brandy might. But it's recoverable, bud. You know the drill. That's right. All right, on the chart here, basically, the way we talk about this is um, these jars could be anywhere from a gallon. If you're coming off with 20 gallons, that'd be probably a hundred some gallon still, right? Uh, but if these were like pints, it'd be a lot smaller. So it's just proportional. I mean, you could, like, if you only got, let's say, 16 jars or 12 jars for that matter, you could say, okay, let's do 30%. So the first 4 jars are going to be probably, in the head zone. 5, 6, 7, 8 is going to be in the heart zone. 9, 10, 11, 12 is going to be in the tail zone, right? So you can shift it, accordingly. But yeah, those can be any size from pints to little small jars. But I will say the smaller your stills, the less experienced you are in making cuts, the smaller those little jars will be. Now I ain't saying use something like a shot jar, nothing like that. But maybe like the small jelly jars, the little jelly jars. Do those, especially like when you get it decent enough where well, I think I'm getting around 6 to 7 to 8, maybe in that range. Then you could like switch from a big jar to small jars. Because you're getting pretty close to where you might want to start cutting it off, right? So then you could kind of switch to small jars if you want to do it that way, and then once you get to your hearts, go back to big jars. And once you get to where you smell it and think maybe this might be getting a little tailsy, sometimes you can look where it's dripping on the surface, and it'll get a little oily and bubble and kind of roll on the surface. And then you can say, all right, I definitely need to go through these little jars again. So you could do it that way too. But yeah, it would all be a ratio basically of steel to jar size. So I guess if that was 20 quarts, that would be 5 gallons. And 5 gallons, you probably get off a 50-gallon steel maybe or something like that. So if you had a 50-gallon steel, those might be quarts. If you had a 25-gallon steels, those would probably be pints. And if you had a 10-gallon steel, you're not going to get that many regardless of jar size unless you're using real teeny ones. So then you could just cut your numbers down, like 1 through 14, and 1 through 5 is going to be 1, 6 through 10 is going to be another, 11 through 14, kind of break it down that way. But this is all just general. And I will say with brandies, you're going to get a little bit of shift, because you're going to get a little bit more heads in some of your brandies, most of your brandies, especially if you're using pectic enzymes. They generally create a little bit more heads and pores, but it's worth it to get all that extra juice and flavor out. But just keep in mind that you're going to get a little bit more on some brandies than you would, like on a sugar shine. You're not going to get a whole lot at all. So it just depends on what your distillate is as well. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 1 through 5 is cleaner. Uh, you use to kill grass. If you do welding, you can clean your metal with it. It's great for cleaning countertops and glass. And my glass top stove, it cleans that good. I keep some around, and I pour a little bit on this Kleenex to keep my glasses clean. So I always keep a little spray bottle here with it in it. It's good if you have a little food coloring in there to put it in that so you don't drink it. You don't want to get drunk one night, have it in a jar and pick it up and drink it and cough and puke. But get back to where I know I get off on tangents sometimes, but really, if you're just drinking heads, it's not going to kill you. It tastes horrible, but it'll give you a hell of a hangover. It's not going to kill you anytime soon. If you drink a lot of heads and you drink for 50 years and you drink heads for 50 years, yeah, it's probably going to eat your liver up faster than hearts would or something like that for sure. So it's important to make good cuts, and if you got people you don't like and people that continuously buy your liquor and never pay you for it, that's nothing to get used to. I'm just kidding. But yeah, cleaning stuff up's good. There's a lot of uses for it. It's a good cleaner. Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're going to oak it, keep jar 7. If you're going to put it in a jar or a barrel for 4 years, use jar 7, because those esters in there mixed with the oils in the tails estrify. So you get acid and oils mixed with some of those heads and combine them together, and they estrify into some interesting good flavors. So that's a really good point. So if you're just going to drink it straight out off the tap, proof it down and drink it, yeah, you want to pretty much stick with true hearts. And I tell you, to make a good white dog is a lot harder than to make what went into whiskey that went into a barrel. Because the flavor that the barrel adds is like 60 to 80%. And it's easy to mask a lot of that jar 6 or 7 and jar 15, 16, 17 on there, which a lot of people blend together. I've seen a lot of shiners back in the day. They'd take jars number 1, 2, and 3, pitch them, and they'd take jars 14 through probably 18, blend them, and then they'd say, 19 all the way down to where it's just barely had any alcohol in it coming out, and they'd say that to put in the thumper. We always put Backens or tails in the thumper. And nowadays, they got all the infusion and doing all this other stuff. We didn't do so much of that back in the day. But we get a lot of that extra alcohol. It's definitely advantageous to do that, because you get a lot of that alcohol recovered in those jars 15 through 19. Once you get to 20 and beyond, maybe it's not so much worth it. Once you get to that point, it's probably good for proofing. Once you get rid past all those oils and stuff, and you just get down to about 10%, 20 ABV or something like that, then it's called sweet waters. Those do pretty well for proofing. I'm sorry I'm getting behind on this. But yeah, Steve, good point. Definite sea level is different. Yeah, I like straight corn. I like it all. I like my brandies too, man. They're all pretty good. But I like pretty much most of it, as long as it ain't got heads in it. Yeah, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, all yeah, southeast. I guess along the coastline though, you get that added benefit of get that breeze off the coast, and it doesn't get as cold probably as inland like in Georgia. Yeller dent. Oh, sweet. Yellow sweet. Oh, I put some of yellow dent. That sounds good. All right, I got to scroll up now. Trying to figure out who my brother was that had the Indian corn. I didn't see Derek Thompson say howdy. What's up, brother? Sorry I missed you. I scroll up and down looking at these questions and scroll down looking for the answers. What's going on in Wichita, Jim? How's it going, brother? All right, I'm scrolling up looking for you. Where is I? He is in KY, brother. Big Blue, Kentucky. Yeah, damn, now I don't see my brother had the, who was it had the corn? Anyway, I feel Billy's post day earlier today. I saw somebody talking, ask a question about the infuser on a thumper and didn't know what it was, and worried about everybody browbeating him, making fun of him, asking a stupid question. First of all, ain't no stupid questions. And second of all, that's why we formed the group, because we got sick of seeing that shit going on in other groups. Every time somebody asks a good question or a common question, everybody asks the same questions. Yeah, we weren't born with this fucking knowledge. So everybody has basically the same questions, and it really pisses me off to see people come in and ask a question, and then 2 or 3 years later, somebody else asks the same question. They're like, "Oh, it's the stupidest shit. You should know that." Motherfucker, you didn't know it 2 years ago when you was asking me. So, help out. Don't beat people down. Help them. That's what we're here for. Wichita. I had some good times in Wichita, Kansas. There used to be a Creonite. I don't know if Creonite Photo Labs is out there still. I used to do work in professional photography. I also used to run a custom photo lab and processing film and stuff for insurance companies and just people, 1 hour lab. And some of our equipment came from Wichita. And I went out there and spent a couple of weeks learning how to maintenance it, maintain it, and use it. Had a good time, man. The guys out there didn't like me, but all them women sure loved teaching me the two-step, man. Them dudes hating on me. Boy, I was saying it over there. I was all innocent. But none of them said nothing to me. I was a little bit fitter then than I am now. Yes, sir. This jar is compliments of Jeffrey, and it is a weeded Bloody Butcher sour mash. I think it's Generation 4. I will tell you that Bloody Butcher has the reputation of being oily and earthy, and it is that way in its first and maybe second. But once you sour mash that stuff in, it does have some pretty good flavors. Once it gets deeper in the generations, it's still giving out flavors where a lot of other stuff start thinning out a little bit. So it's pretty good. Exactly, Clint. I appreciate y'all. Let me skip down here. I'm gonna go the bottom up because I'm missing a lot of comments and questions. It's who's Steve's birthday. Look here what I picked up this weekend. In Ohio, it's like 20 some dollars a bottle, 27 a bottle. Here in Kentucky, where it's made, it's 40 something. Up there in Ohio, they price your liquor for you. This is good Weller wheat. Good stuff. I have a little sippy sip. Man, that's so smooth. That's some good stuff. That'll spoil you right there. Y'all like Weller? What's going on, Mark? What's up, brother? Good to see you on here, my man. The Shadow Mark. Yes, sir. Yeah, and and the tax is bullshit, and the gas is higher because of tax too. But they set the price of the liquor and then tax the shit out of it. So if there's not a lot of margins to sell it there. Yes, sir, it is a good cheap wheat bourbon. I think Mr. Kendall might have been drinking that with me. Hell, he might have been the one who gave it to me. I can't remember. Was it you gave it to me? Yeah, Kenny, you might take a little sippy sip of that as well this weekend. Well, Jason, was it you? Jason forgot my jar of root beer I left him. Yeah, I think we all had a little sippy sip out of that bottle. Man, that's good stuff. It's no, it wasn't yours. I can't remember who it was, but somebody's passing that around us. Man, it's good. It's how you keep it. I appreciate telling that. I love it. So smooth though, man. It's fucking 90 proof. That is pretty smooth for 90. No bite at all. I like that sweet weed and stuff. Oh yeah, that's right. Dan's one. Yep. I need to get me a pen, write that shit down. I get it. I get a little bit buzzed. I forget everything. Hell, I get forgetful if I ain't drinking and smoking, man. After that, I'm done. Yeah, I say what, man, me and you both fall behind the chat. I want to scroll back and see if I missed anything. I was scrolling up and down. I missed quite a bit. I was trying to find my dude that had some Indian corn. He mentioned Indian corn. I scrolled up to find that. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Upper Florida, Georgia. Hell yeah. Hillbron Indian corn. See? Bag. Well, brother, I am 100% sure you can find a bunch of brothers that be all over that. We got people all over, so I know. Buddy Butcher crossed with Jimmy Red. Awesome. But yeah, everybody's wanting to try new stuff. So some of the Indian corners for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I wish I was closer. I'd leave after my podcast if I wasn't drinking. All right, here we go. That'd be cool. Yeah, I noticed that he's looking for some historical family stuff to do some videos on. I hope he looks up my family does it on Willie Clay Call and the Calls Distillery. There's quite a bit of history to that, and that's my grandmother's family. Found out that Sedflo's sister, Visco Sed, is even better. Not only does it break down beta glucans, but it also contains xylanase, awesome, and others to break down most all cell walls and protein. That's awesome. Especially once you start using a lot of wheat, and because that wheat can get real gummy. So do oats. So that stuff is definitely, and xylanase, man, that's awesome. Yeah, I talked about xylanase in the past, and people were like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I'm trying to think of my buddy's name in Ohio. He's like, "You're the only person I've ever heard mention xylanase, except where we work." And that does a lot of cellulose. That breaks down a lot of cellulose, and people don't know that the cellulose is also what holds the cell together. So it's not just like wood pulp. It is wood pulp, but cellulose in the cells when you use like a pectic enzyme is like a pectinase, and it helps break those down too. But xylanase and invertase probably might have some invertase in it as well. But that stuff, it'll clean everything up, and it also helps thin or clear your wash or your mash up, so you don't get so milky and all that. It helps clear it out and get it good and clear, so you can run it hot and fast, not have to worry about it affecting flavor, especially like if you're using uh, electric. How often should you clean your steel? Well, if you run it all the time, you really don't need to do much other than just spray it out. If it's copper, of course it's going to require different care than stainless. But with your copper, you just want to rinse it. You don't want that back set to sit in there because it's highly acidic, and it'll cause things to kind of turn green. Yeah, rye too. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about rye, but yeah, wheat and rye absolutely kill all that gummy shit up, man. But if you've got a copper steel, you definitely want to, as soon as it cools off enough, take it apart, spray it out. You get all that acid out of there. But other than that, you shouldn't need to do anything. Um, if you have like a brandy that kind of bubbled a lot and foamed, you'll notice right at the edge of the water line, you'll have a little bit of scum buildup. So generally just take like a credit card, but not a credit card, but something like a credit card. Go in there and scrape it, and just scrape all the way around that. And then, if you want to use a little 3M pad with some water to just, scrub it off there and then rinse it real well, that should be enough, because we really don't have to worry about sanitizing so much because everything gets boiled in alcohol, right? So it's not as big an issue as just making sure you get all that acid and everything cleaned out and all that scum. You don't want that to build up. What happens is that builds up, and then you run it again, it gets hot, it kind of gets caked on, and it darkens up on you, and then you keep doing that, and then you just get a big, thick buildup in there, and it's dark, and it looks like shit, and it has to affect your flavor. So, just along that water line, and it's going to foam up, even if you put a little butter in there, or a little oil or whatever, you're still going to get foam. I mean, hell, you can't boil water without it foaming up, right? So yeah, definitely. But yeah, just do that and rinse it. Stainless, pretty much the same. Just rinse everything out real good, and if you have any, on my stainless with the same thing, I take it apart, and right there at the water line where it was foaming up, you get a little bit of, you know, build up. But it seems to be worse for me with brandies than with like sugar washes or grains. But there's always going to be, something on there. Just kind of scrape it off, clean it off, spray it off, and rinse it. But just making sure you get all that acid out of there, and blow it through your worm too. Blow some water through your worm and rinse all that out, because a lot of times you have a little low spot in there and you don't want that acidic, anything acidic to sit in there for a long time, or it'll start turning green. And then, next thing you know, you got copper oxides and sulfites coming out of there, and it's copper sulfates and shit. It's just not good. Toxic. Yep. Gotta have that anyways, brother. Unless you got malts. Well, what are you gonna do for your birthday, Steve? Oh, I see. Somebody already said that, huh? They don't feel like malting the corn. I know it's a pain in the ass malting stuff. I malt my wheat. I don't malt the corn anymore. I used to do all that shit. It is a lot of time and trouble for the corn. But for the wheat, since I don't use as much, it's usually a lot smaller percentage. I'll do a little malt on my wheat. It also makes it a lot easier to work with. That's right. Damn, I was behind. How'd that work out, brother? Wasn't the best tasting. Yeah, blackstrap. Yeah, just it's good to get that. What is that black pearl stuff that Wes and Philby are getting up there? That's pretty good stuff, and that golden stuff is pretty decent too. But yeah, you get that lowest grade, and you get what a lot of times they pick that stuff green, and it's not real mature cane, and it's picked green, and it's not the best flavor, but it's used for like in a lot of animal feeds and stuff, and sometimes it's sulfured. Yeah, what's going on, Monty? Kentucky Rainbow or Rustic Creek corn? Now the Kentucky Rainbow is like a gem corn, if I'm not mistaken. I've not done it yet, but it's like a gem corn. Uh, if it's not a gem corn, it looks like it. It's multicolored. It's beautiful looking corn. But no, I've not tried a lot of that. I've not done a lot of the different heirloom corns. Uh, I haven't some. I've got to try to get me some Oaxacan green that I want to try. I've heard a lot of good things about that, so I'm trying to source me some Oaxacan green. But the blue corns and all those, yeah, they're awesome. I've done the Amanda Palmer. You know, that's something that Alan Bishop kind of put together and grew and bred. Um, Very interesting corn. It's kind of multicolored, but it's not like a rainbow. I think that rainbow looks a lot like a gem corn. It's pretty shit. I've not run it. I just take paying a whole lot for it. I like getting my corn for like $12 for 50 pounds instead of $50 for 12 pounds. Yeah, I'm pretty tight. Ding ding. All right, let's do. Honey mead, man. I had some really good honey mead this weekend. Bill Billy had some, and Dan Gray had some, and man, it was good. Right, right. Now, yeah, I was looking at too. Somebody was telling me that if you join the, I think, amateur distillers or home distillers organization or associate home distillers association or something like that, kind of might get a little bit of a break if you were to get caught or something. There might be some legalities about, I don't know, kind of like I know, like with the guns before all this new stuff came out in the big beautiful bill. Uh, there was some gun legislation. I think I'm not sure if it was on the forced reset triggers or exactly what, but um, some people in like the Gun Owners of America (GOA) uh, all pulled their money together and fought it and won. So basically, they were exempt from it until the Supreme Court ruled on it. So I guess maybe this is something similar to that. So, hopefully we can get a Supreme Court ruling on this sometime soon. I know it's been in and out of a Texas court. Didn't quite make it, but that doesn't mean it won't. It's in their ear. We don't have a big lobby. I know here in Kentucky it would fall on deaf ears because most of our legislators get quite a bit of Benjamins from the distilling industry, and they don't want it because it would impact them for sure. understandably. So I think Kentucky, Tennessee would probably be the last two states to get it. Missouri has it, and supposedly what West Virginia has it, and it just recently passed. I think they're changing the limits. It was kind of a ridiculous limit in West Virginia. I don't think they really did their research. I think they did like a gallon, in Missouri it's like 100 gallons per person. For every person in the household that's 21 or older that can legally have it, up to two people. So if you have two 21-year-olds plus living in a home that can drink, and you can do up to 200 in Missouri, but I think West Virginia started out at a gallon or 5 gallons or some ridiculous shit, and then everybody's like, "Come on, this is stupid," and then they realize, wait, this is probably pretty ridiculously low amount. I think they're working on getting it raised. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, it is. Well, I think they try to force you to denature it, but they can't come out and regulate all that. And they don't really care that much. Especially if you pay that tax, they don't give a shit anymore. Yeah, no, brother. I wish if you're in the militia, man, if you're not, join the Moonshine Militia and mention. I know we got some brothers down there in Georgia and Florida. Uh, I'd love to have some. That's awesome. Now, I will tell you, Cowboy, if you can get some of that Oaxacan green and maybe some of that Ohio blue, or that what's that other blue? Ohio blue, and what's the other blue? Man, mine's a terrible thing to lose. And Ohio blue and yeah, what's the other blue? Oh, yeah, let's go down. What is it? What's Ohio blue and what's the other blue coin? Let me go ahead and share this link with the rest of the people I wasn't able to share it with earlier. A lot of people watch this on their way to work and shit, so I don't know all these people get a chance to watch it. But I'll share this while I'm trying to think of Ohio blue, and no, it's just not blue. Somebody, Clint's probably already answered that, and I ain't seen it. Let me share this on out here. Okay. Damn it. I'm behind, man. I'm losing it. I forget more shit. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, man, it took me like 10 minutes to think funnel. I'm trying to think of use a funnel, to help pour something in. And I couldn't think of fucking funnel, man. Boy, that's funny, but damn, if it don't start messing with your head, what little you got left of it. I'm paying for all that partying I did growing up. That's for sure. But hell, did I not share this damn? Hell, I can't believe I didn't share that with the militias. It's very end. Holy fuck, that's crazy, crazy. What y'all wondering if I'm gonna post this shit or not? Well, anyway, Got it in there, a little hour late, but hey, that should have been the first one I did. It's usually the first one I post it to. How the hell did that happen? Anyway. Damn, y'all gonna make me Google that shit. Maybe it is just blue corn. Hopi! God damn it. Couldn't think of fucking Hopi. What's wrong with me, man? Hopi blue. Shit. My mind, man. Lose it. But yeah, that Hopi would be some good Indian corn to grow down there. It's good. It's good and sweet. And that Oaxacan green is good too. It's a really good mix with that Hopi and some of that other stuff. I mean, having the Bloody Butcher and the Jimmy Red, I don't know if I do both. I mean, if you got the seeds already, go for it, brother. But I mean, they're both a lot alike. People tend to like the Jimmy Red a little better than the Bloody Butcher. A little less oily and earthy. But grow what you got. If you got the seed, grow it on out. But if you can get your paws on some of that Oaxacan green, and I don't know if you've ever, we used to call it oxycon because I don't know how to speak Spanish or pronunciate that shit. So we called that shit oxycon for a long time. Well, actually, it was weed we called that because they used to have some from Oaxacan weed, but it spelled like oxycon, and we called that oxycon weed for, I don't know, forever, back in the 70s and 80s and shit, when we were getting that brickweed down from there. Blueprints for a German sub. Yeah, I got all kinds of interesting things like that. Remember my grandfather used to have one of those, like a Gatling gun that was mounted in a biplane during World War One. He had one of them out in his barn, and somebody stole that motherfucker, man. It killed me. I was a kid. I remember looking at that thing. He's all rusted. It's rusted solid. It was just like one solid piece of metal. I mean, I'm sure that seeing how some of these people do that electrolysis and stuff, and that stuff that they find in the ocean and stuff, they get it all functional again. I'm sure that somebody could have spent some time, money, and effort and gotten that back into a functional machine again. They'd probably taken some parts, but man, he loved talking about that thing. He's proud as fuck about that thing. Yeah, Tom. My uncle lives right next to the Barretts. He's friends with the Barrett family. The dude that got the patent on the Barrett, he sold it out. But yeah, my uncle's good friends with all that family. They're down in Murfreesboro. I think Tom has a machine shop. He works at one, but uh, I don't know. I'm sure they could build. I'm sure they probably have the license to build guns too. Auto erect. Yeah, it's funny because it always there's just one. I can't remember what it was, but sometimes when I type a certain saying, it changes it entirely, and it makes it look kind of funny. Yeah, yeah. I love that steampunk stuff, man. I wanna build me a little steampunk steel that has some shit moving and gears running and steam spitting out every once in a while. I have noticed that a lot of people are adding these whistles to their steam jennies. That's pretty cool. Where do you live, Paul? There should be some moonshine everywhere, brother. We don't talk about selling it on here. We can't we can't offer you any, but there should be some no matter where you are. But there's some of the store-bought stuff that ain't too bad. It's if you just go buy corn liquor, sometimes you can get pretty decent, when you buy corn liquor. But a lot of the moonshine's pretty much sugar shine. But if you find some corn liquor, it's pretty good. Also, who is it? Sells a White Dog. Buffalo Trace White Dog. That's basically, they're all grain White Dog coming off the tap. That's what it tastes like. And that's a perfect example too. Buy that White Dog and compare that to what you got coming off the tap, and you'll be like, damn, mine's as good as this shit. And it is. But how they get theirs much better is they put it in a barrel for 4 or 5 years, 10 years. And that barrel allows that liquor to mature and esterify. There's a lot of shit. There's a lot of chemical reactions going on long after the distilling's done. So even if it's in a jar, it doesn't have to be in a barrel. Even if it's just in a jar with no aging sticks, no nothing, there's still processes going on. I don't know how many times I've heard people say, that didn't taste very good. And then I set it on the shelf and I came back 6 months later and took a drink. Damn, man, it's a lot better now than it was. That's because of all these processes that are going on constantly, and you're getting esterification. You're mixing acids and oils together, and that they esterify and some pretty interesting flavors over time. So you can try the Buffalo Trace White Dog at the store, Paul, and that'll be a pretty good idea of what a average shine would be like, because actually most of what we make is probably going to be a little better than that. But yeah, once you age it, it changes. It makes it a whole lot better, in my opinion. And I like the taste of that smoke and that age and that wood and some of the caramel, vanilla notes that it gives off. I love it. I love fucking whiskey, man. That's always been my weakness. Yeah. I remember my first gun was a 12 gauge, and I was like 9 years old. Yeah, man. That gun got stolen off of me when I was in school. There's no Ted Williams over under double barrel. Valuable gun is made by Browning. It's just like a Satori, but it's made for Sears. Ted Williams. This is in the 70s. Let's see, 71 or 2. Got it for Christmas, and they stole it, motherfucker. How effective is freeze distillation? I've seen some videos on that, and it was kind of funny how they did it because they didn't know what they was doing. It can be pretty effective if you know what you're doing. Basically, you're freezing the water out of the alcohol. So you bring the alcohol and water. It's basically a wine, and it's called Applejack. Usually, a lot of people do it with an apple wine or an apple-based brandy type setup, but they don't distill it. They make a wine, and then they clear it, and then they sit it outside in a bucket. And as it gets colder and colder and colder, the ice will freeze, but the alcohol won't. Now, the clowns that did it used liquid nitrogen and let it get way, way, way too fucking cold, and it just basically turned everything to ice. So they really did the quick method. But the best way to do it is just sit it outside when you get like 0-degree temps and let it slowly get cold. Monitor it as it develops ice. Reach in there, pull the ice chunks out, and just let it sit longer. More ice develops until most of your water is frozen out. And then you basically have what's called a fortified wine or frozen distilled Applejack. I will say to drink that very sparingly because it still has all this in it. So you're getting rid of none of that. All you're getting rid of is that. as the water. So yeah, well, not just that. That's got other stuff in it too. But you're getting rid of a lot of the water, and you're just leaving a lot of this. And it still has a lot, all this in there, so it can make for a very, very nasty hangover if you drink too much of it. But it is effective, and it's been done for long, many centuries, probably over 1,000 years. I think probably one of the, I don't know, they might have been doing that before they actually distilled it, you know. So it was definitely been a method that's been used for centuries. But it works if you take your time and do it right, do it outside and have the right temperature. It's got to be cold enough. But yeah, I saw the video of the guys trying to do it with liquid nitrogen or carbon. Yeah, dry ice. Yeah, that's what it was, dry ice. They packed it with dry ice, and that's just way too cold. They got everything way too cold. They did it too fast and too much. But if you sit it outside in the bucket, I've done it. It will slowly freeze, and you just dig out the ice chunks and throw them away. And yeah, Jackie, yeah, Applejack. It works. It works well. It's awesome. See, like Caltech, I tell you, I like that Palmetto State, man. I like a lot of the stuff they got. They got them in Anderson Arms out of Kentucky, and Palmetto out of South Carolina. Man, they both turn out some pretty high quality stuff for the price. Because I'm tight. I'm not gonna pay for Daniel Defense and all that high price stuff, but I like that Palmetto State stuff. They have pretty good bargain, and yeah, yeah, they do. They make good guns. A lot of them call it the poverty pony because it's a lesser expensive gun. I guess all these Daniel Defense snobs do that, but I'll shut them up and put them on the range, man. I'll take that Anderson Armour at Palmetto and out shoot your ass. And, you know, it, it's as much in the shooter as it is what you shoot. Now, 10,000 rounds, they'll probably still be shooting where I'm going to be replacing some parts, but as cheap as it is, I could buy 5 Palmettos or 5 Andersons for what one Daniel Defense costs. So, yeah, I think I'll just replace my parts instead of, paying $2,000 for a $500 gun. Did go to an auction where I bought some stuff at auction this weekend. I got another Glock 19 that I didn't need. But I mean, when you get them for $300, it looked brand new. It doesn't even look like it'd been shot. Not a scratch on it. Looked like it. I didn't get the box, but it looked like it just came out of it. But yeah, it was in a Winchester X 12 gauge with wetland camo, 3.5-inch chamber. It was nice. I picked that up for like 265 or something like that. Yeah, that's brand new too. I couldn't resist them. Yeah, it's time to drink, Steve. Here we go. For those of you that don't know what I'm hitting there, this is an old Mack truck ashtray. That's an emblem from a Mack truck that came off a coal truck in an ashtray. This is from the 1950s. And it sounds just like a damn box string belt on it. But you know what? I've never seen another one of them. And I showed that a few months ago. Tom Crumb has one just fucking like it. I couldn't believe it, man. I've never seen another one like it. I guess you can find them on eBay, but I've never seen one in life just like it. And Tom, once I showed him, he's like, no. He held up the same damn thing. I don't rag on Caltech. I've got a Caltech. It's a 9mm rifle. A lot of people like it for a certain, I don't know, not a 3-gun shoot, but it's a certain type of competition shooting that they like using it in. Yeah, that's the Mack truck. Symbol. Was it loud? I'm sorry. Is it loud? Yeah, it's something. Let me get something now. Yeah, I guess it is fairly close to my microphone on my. I used to use a little microphone that came off my headset with one of these little jewels. It used to come off here, but those some bitches great, and I ain't gonna pay $10 for another one. When my camera's got a microphone built into it, and everybody says they hear me just fine, and they can't hear my fan blowing too bad, which I gotta have blowing on me all the time. I get hot down here. All right, here we go. Is it loud? Damn, I'll have to muffle it. I'm sorry, bro. All right, got a mash going. Use the same cracked corn and 6-row that I have been using. Okay. Before I only did powder amylase. Okay. This time I did the high temp and glucose. I got a better conversion. It's working off fine. However, it has a smell almost like puke. Well, that's a butyric acid. Okay. Do you think it's something funky with the corn or related to the amylase? Amylase was more. No, I doubt it. I doubt it had anything to do with the amylase. It's probably, you know, the puke smell is it's a butyric acid, and that's a typical organic acid that comes off most fermentations, but you generally don't get a lot of it, right? Generally, it's always there, but it's just not enough to really put off a lot of the strong odor. But I have had them. I will tell you, if you do like watermelon and you scrape all your watermelon into a mash and you throw all your rinds into the garbage can and you ferment your watermelon and you scrape all that pulp and stuff out and throw it in your garbage can and you forget to take it out and you let it sit for a week and then you lift your bag out and then you're walking out of the house with it and your bag breaks and it goes all over the place. It can smell like butyric acid too. Ask me how I know. This past week it happened to me, man. Oh my God. I thought my old lady was going to be mad at hell, but she was cool. She said, "Oh, don't worry about it, honey. We'll clean it up when you get home." But man, it got on the kitchen floor and the carpet, and it was a strong puke too. And it's just, it was naturally fermenting in my damn garbage cans, what it was. But my fermentation does, my fermentation doesn't do that. So it's got to be some of the, maybe the wild yeast that kind of contribute more to it, or just the rinds. But yeah, it got a little butyric, but my watermelon didn't do that at all. It all came out the same. So I don't know. Yeah, man. Yeah, the butyric acid will go away. Now there are other things that sometimes people mistake for butyric, like Clint's talking about. Sometimes lacto. Did you get some white film associated with it? A pellicle per se. But the butyric acid there's lots of organic acids that are naturally occurring during the fermentation. Acetic acid, uh, which can also turn to vinegar over long. Citric acid, butyric acid. There's a whole host of different acids that are actually created, and you can if you use the oyster shells, it helps keep them at bay because as soon as they start developing, they kind of get neutralized. But with the butyric, you definitely don't want to distill it while it smells like puke. Sometimes you just got to let it run its course and hope that it's not lacto, because if it's lacto and it takes a long time to run its course, that lacto, if it's in there with it, can consume a lot of the alcohol, and take your proof down. Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's a butyric acid, and just let it run its course. And sometimes it can take weeks and weeks and weeks, but I know from experience, if you distill it while it still smells like puke, it's not gonna be a really good distillate for you. But if you let it run its course, it can get kind of sweet. Yeah, get a little dry heat. I know some people, man, they just hear that and they start puking. I see that shit a lot on the internet. People teasing each other. I guess some people can't even hear somebody puke without getting sick. In the morning for Rise and Shine. What? I haven't been on Cyrus's. I know Cyrus and I are admin in some different groups and stuff together, and I've never really had a chance to sit and chat with Cyrus. He seems like I've never met him at any of the festivals or anything yet, but I know he's very knowledgeable. Seems like very interesting. I love that off the grid living stuff, all the stuff he does, man. I'm into all that shit. I definitely follow a lot of his stuff and watch it. Have for a long time. Very knowledgeable guy though. Seems like he's very chill and cool. I'd like to meet him sometime. Hopefully, he comes to some of these festivals. So I didn't know they had the Thursday morning Rise and Shine. That's probably why. It's that time I go to bed. Probably. I'm a little bit of a night owl. Well, get her to making beer, Dark, and if she's a big beer, yeah, Cyrus, yeah. Oh, you're talking to Steve, yeah. Yeah, Cyrus is chill, man. I watched a lot of his videos, a lot of his stuff over the years. I don't know, but we can definitely find one and put it in there. Um, I know most general mashes are light beer, but the big difference is hops. So get her to liking some beers without hops, and then next time she makes a good beer, you can say, "Hey, I wonder what this be like out of the still." No problem, brother. Yeah, I'll check you out as soon as I get off here. It's hard for me to do a lot of searching and stuff on. So you got a YouTube channel, I guess, too. Awesome. That's interesting, Jeffrey. I mean, it's possible because a lot of times. Hmm. Now, did you steep or did you cook your corn? Because if you steep, a lot of times when you soak it, you don't get that real hot initial strike temperature. That kills a lot of stuff off. And if the temp drops below a certain area, there's probably, it's a bacterial thing too that can cause it. So, you know, making sure you get everything cooked or heated up beyond 180, you know, 160 is cut off, but 180, any above 160 is good. But a lot of times it's due to some bacteria that can cause it, for sure. And I'd say that's probably what it was. Is there's a natural bacteria that if you don't, you know, kill it off, it can form. A lot of times people run into it in their sour mashes and stuff where they don't, you know, get it heated up a lot. I'd say some people using this yellow label angel yeast where they're, you know, doing cold fermentations probably run into some of that as well, because it's not that bacteria. Let me see what causes it. Let me see what that bacteria is called. I can't remember. I used to be able to tell you. It starts with an F, I think. Clostridium butyricum. Butyricum. Clostridium is what it is. Clostridium. I was saying it started with an F, but I must be thinking of something different bacteria. The Clostridium. Let me copy and paste that so y'all can see it. There we go. So you get that bacteria in there. It's typical to get it. It's very common, but if you that's one of the reasons a lot of people like to sanitize and keep things as sanitary, and they like to get above 160, even if it's fruits or whatever. I know that a lot of people are going to get some of this in a lot of fermentations that they use with this yellow label that they don't use heat at all. But generally, when you cook your grains, you're going to, you know, eliminate a lot of this. But it, you know, it can get in there on fruit flies. It can come in on, you know, just a spoon, or, you know, if you use a wood spoon, it could be, you know, there's so many different ways to get cross contamination. But that first one, Clostridium butyricum, that's probably one of the most common. And it's also the acid that we have in our stomachs is a butyric acid. It's what we use for natural digestion. So it's everywhere, you know. It's very common. But yeah, just let it run its course, and it can take a while. It just takes patience. Just put an airlock on it or put a cover over it, and don't totally cover it, but you know, keep stuff out. Oh yeah, I can imagine. Oh, and I bet it took a while to clean that shit out of his steel too. Old Falstaff. Didn't they make that like Cincinnati, Ohio, or in Ohio? Is that Ohio beer? Let me see. I think that's where the hell they make Falstaff. St. Louis. Okay. I was thinking that. Oh, it's by Pabst, made by Pabst. Went out of production in 2005. Yeah, I was thinking that might have been Cincinnati area. They had Drummond Brothers. That's what I used to drink a lot of. Drummond Brothers. Oh, that was made in Louisville. I thought that was in Ohio. That's Fall City Brewery, and I guess out of Louisville. Well, damn, man. Fall City Brewing Company in Louisville. I used to drink shit out of that. We used to get that in returnable bottles when I was in school. And that was the cheapest beer you could get at the damn place, and you return your bottles, made it even cheaper. I'm trying to think of. I know I drank some beers from Ohio back in the day. Um, it wasn't my Drummond Brothers. I never really drank a lot of beer. I did when I was in school because that's where everybody drank, and I didn't want to get too crazy wild. I'm trying to think of some of the beer we drank. I know there was some from Ohio. It's cheap as shit too. I can't remember what it was. Is it in a green bottle maybe? What was that? Mickey Big Mouth. Is that made in Cincinnati? Yeah, might have been that. That come in a little green pop top. Oh, they're saying that Mickey. Let's see. That was in Evansville, Indiana. Well, actually, they may have made it other places too. It's currently made by Miller. Evansville. I'm bought by. Wait, I'm just going to say 680. Yeah, let's see what we come up with here. Cutie Pole and Little Kings. That's what it was. Little Kings. Man, my mind so far gone. But that Little Kings came in a green bottle, didn't it? Yep, that's it. Little Kings. I knew green bottle. See, my mind's not totally gone. It was Little Kings. Yep, Little Kings. Man, we drink the shit out of that. And Cutie Pole. Yeah, we drink a lot of Cutie Pole too. Actually, I don't know if I still have it, but I used to have an old Cutie Pole beer sign, a little plastic one. It wasn't neon, plastic one. I drank enough of it. They gave me the place where I used to buy it. Say, you like that Cutie? And I'm like, yeah, it's cheap as fuck. It's like afford. Yeah, you want this sign put in your dorm room? Hell yeah, it's cool as fuck. Oh, Cutie Pole. Yeah, we drink shit like Little Kings though. We like them little bottles because we get out in the country and get drunk and throw the beer bottle at the sign to see, how many signs we can hit in a row. I don't know. Shit we do. But I never was a big beer drinker, so it didn't matter. I do remember the the bottle you're talking about, though. And it had like a big pull tab on it. It had like a really large pull tab. Hell no. We're all getting lit. Yeah, I had a buddy of mine. He his family was wealthy, and big coal money from Eastern Kentucky. I grew up in Eastern Kentucky, and his family had big coal money, and that dude could afford to buy any beer he wanted to, but PBR, baby. He could have bought any beer he wanted, but he loved that PBR. Everybody gave him shit about it. I liked it as good as any. Like I said, I wasn't a big beer drinker. Boilermakers, I did quite a bit of that. But yeah, he drank shit out of PBR. That's if you want to drink at his house, he's drinking PBR. If he's drinking beer, I grew up drinking Miller and Schlitz. That's all they had to bootleggers. Miller and Schlitz. That was pretty much all you had choice of. Y'all like Schlitz? It wasn't too bad, I guess. Schlitz give you the shits. That's cool. PBR snowboard. I tried some snowboarding. I skied. Did a lot of that when I was younger. That's how I fucked my shoulder up skiing. Down in them double black diamonds like a crazy man. Tore my shoulder up. Kept me from getting in the military, man. Yeah, I done Boilermakers. Mine, I was snow skiing. It was the first time I'd ever learned. And me being the tough guy football player, I seen these little kids coming off the hill and these little girls coming off the hill, and I'm like, fuck, if they can do it, I can do it. I didn't realize there was quite a bit more technique in it than what there was. And so I said, well, I've watched them do it on the Olympics a lot, and I've seen these little kids do it, and these little girls do it. I can do it. So I skied off the beginner slope, a few times that afternoon, and I got it all figured out. I'm ready. So I got on that it was at night skiing at night. And I got on that ski lift and I went all the way up to the top, got on that double black diamond. It was really steep. And I started coming down and it was doing good. I was doing my side to side thing. And then I kind of went sideways and it kind of slipped out from under it, a little icy, East Coast. Uh, got icy and I slipped and I was sliding on my side. So I thought I had these ski poles and I had the straps around my wrist. Big mistake. I thought, well, I can just shove it in the ground and pop myself up. I guess I didn't realize quite how fast I was going. So I tried to stick that pole in the ground and push myself up. And as soon as I hit the ground, immediately it jerked my shoulder out and I was tumbling. And it took me a while. My shoulder was completely out while I was collecting my skis and my ski poles and everything. And it was just straight down. I mean, it was completely out and hurt like, oh God, it hurt so bad. And I got my skis because no ski patrol at night and not very many people there at all. Nobody. And so I got my skis back on because I had to get off that hill, right? And I went straight down. I was trying to do my plow, right? Just trying to plow all the way to the bottom and just get to the bottom. And somehow I got turned around backwards. So I'm doing a reverse plow, and I'm scared to death to wreck because I'm thinking, God damn, I wreck again. It's just going to tear the rest of me off. I'm just going to be missing an arm or something. So I'm doing a reverse plow with my heels pointing together and did that. And then finally got around Turned around and got to the bottom of the hill, and there's some moguls. And I guess I hit one that bounced my shoulder back in. All right, Mud. All right, brother. Yeah, 4 does come early, brother. You have a great night. Shine on, brother. We'll see you Saturday night. Take it easy, brother. So I hit them moguls at the bottom of the hill, and I guess it bounced it back in. And I don't know if y'all ever had your shoulder dislocated and go back in. It's like pain of a 9 to a 1. You know, it went from excruciating to an ache. And I was like, oh man, it's better, it's better, it's better. So I was like 13, 14 when it happened, 14 when it happened. So, no, I was 14 or 15, yeah. And so I could go back to the room, parents said, and then what happened? I told them, oh, you'll be all right. This how's it feel now? And I'm like, it's not too bad. No, you'll be fine. And I didn't know, but I had broken off about half of my rotator cuff. And as every time I'd work my shoulder, it was rubbing that bone away, right? And then after that, there was nothing holding it in. You know, all the bone holding it in was broken off too, and it started coming out quite often. And oh, it is more even cool. So yeah, go check out Cyrus, man. He's cool, man. Check him out. I love all that off the grid stuff he's into, man. It's cool as fuck. Shine on, brother. But yeah, it started coming out a bunch. You know, every time I was throwing baseballs and stuff, it'd come out. So I went in, and it was like 1979 or something. They did this surgery. They cut me open, cut a tendon out of my chest, and stapled it to my shoulder, and stapled it to the back there, and said that'll hold it in. You know, and I tell doctors about that nowadays, like they shudder. You know, it's like no, they would never. That's barbaric surgery. You know, by today's standards. Yeah, that's 50 years ago. But yeah, I tried to get in the military, and they wouldn't let me in because of it. I wanted to join so damn bad, they wouldn't do it. Hell, even the Air Force wouldn't take me. Went down the line, started with the Army or the Marines, no. Army, no. Navy, no. To the Air Force student. Like, fuck, I can't even get in an Air Force, man. It's like, but all those DUIs and PIs didn't help much either. Yeah, I should have remembered that Clostridium. I don't know what I was confusing that with. It started with an F. I'll have to look that up. Your dad was in the Navy. Yeah, I had a great uncle that was a vice admiral in the Navy. They talked about him on that Baba Black sheet. Admiral Greer. He had his own fleet in the Pacific during World War II. Check him out. Check out the stats on him. Raymond Greer, Vice Admiral Raymond Greer. Greer. Yeah, he was a highly decorated war hero, man. He only lost a frigate in the Pacific. They moved him over. He actually, I'm trying to think of what it's called. He ran the whole Atlantic board for a while. He lived in Chicago, St. Ruth. But Google him, check him out. Vice Admiral Raymond Greer. Marshal Raymond Greer. He's a bad motherfucker. All right, that's good. That sugar's bad, man. Look at hamburger. Man, my fiance was pissed off. We had a deal over the 4th of July on hamburgers, like $3.99 or $3.49 or something a pound. I'm like, hell, let's load up. I walked out there with like 20 pounds of burgers. She's like, oh my God. And she was bitching and moaning. And yeah, she was too much. She didn't get me. But we put that up, man. And sure enough, that shit, man, it's up to $6. I know it's almost steak prices, really. So, yeah, it's expensive. But normal, how much you paying, brother? I mean, 70 cents a pound, I think, is about the average. But did you know that you can get more corn just out of the sugar, just by converting your yellow dent corn with your amylase? You can get all the sugar you need out of that. And that's why they use corn to make fuel with instead of like cane sugar, is because it's cheaper. It's cheaper. Me and Mike Frame, we sat down and put the numbers to it and how much you could get exactly and how much it cost and all this, and especially when you're getting corn, real cheap. Now if you're not heirloom corn, but if you're getting like yellow dent, and you're getting 50 pounds for $6 or something like that, or less, which you can from a lot of farmers when you buy big bulk. It's by far the cheapest way to get your sugars. Just get it out of your corn. Red River here in Kentucky. Yeah, no doubt, brother. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, most of them they got beet sugar. Yeah. That if it doesn't say pure cane sugar, it's made from beets. There's a reason they don't say it. They can't say it. Barley, yeah, you can use barley instead of amylase. Yeah, just use your corn and barley, but you're not going to get as much sugars from barley. Barley make a good malt. You can get some sugars out of it, but corn, for the cost, corn is real cheap. And if you want to use barley to convert to help get it, absolutely. But yeah, corn is probably your cheapest source of sugars if you're buying it right now. If you're paying $20 for a 50-pound bag or something like that, or getting some kind of heirloom, it's going to be expensive. But regular yellow dent, I know Bucky's got it for like $8 a bag for a 50-pound bag. Somebody said they leave it outside. I haven't been by to check it out yet, so I don't know. Wow. Yeah, I haven't bought it in a while. I've been getting this when I do use it, I usually use dextrose, and you can get it pretty cheap through Philbilly and them if you don't have to ship. If you live pretty close to Philbilly up in Ohio, and you don't have to ship it, you can get it from him pretty cheap, and it's damn good to use. It's real good to use. But for the most part, most of the grocery stores I've been going to, unless the price has gone up on it, Now, I usually don't get political on here, but did y'all see this past week where Tyson closing a lot of their chicken processing plants, a lot of chicken places? Did y'all see that? And another reason, and the reason a lot of beef's going up is China has a big influence on this, and I think they're trying to, impact Trump in the cost, because he's been bragging about how food costs and eggs and everything, groceries are getting cheaper, and I think they found another way to influence elections other than sending over illegal IDs and all that shit. Now, I hate getting political on here, but this shit pissed me off. And the reason they're doing it, they're manipulating. I think every damn state that has one of those Tyson plants there should take over that plant, eminent domain, sell it to somebody local that wants to run it, re-employ them people, and get chicken back into, because cutting the production cuts the supply and increases the cost. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to mess with our economy and mess with everything. We should never let them motherfuckers buy anything here. We should never let them have a hand in our food, our drug, any of that. Now, that ain't political. That don't matter what fucking party you're in. We shouldn't be allowed that. You're a Democrat or Republican, either one should be mad about that. But that's really not political. That's geopolitical. That's world politics, but it ain't, both Democrats and Republicans should be pissed off about that. Yeah, dextrose is, it's a monosaccharide. That's why it's just pure glucose. It's a monosaccharide of glucose. Sucrose is like table sugar, is glucose and fructose bonded together with the glycosidic bond. And that's why it takes a little bit longer to ferment, because that fructose is a little bit slower to ferment, and it's a disaccharide instead of a monosaccharide. But yeah, dextrose is a corn, is derived from corn, and it's just a pure glucose, single molecule glucose. And yeast fucking love that shit. They'll eat it up in a night. Awesome. So what's it showing, Normal? Just see here. All right, I'm looking for you. What normalized audio? I'm not seeing that here, bro. Okay, I'm looking for you, brother. On YouTube, normalized. I'm not seeing you. If you want to share a link, you can. Yes, sir, Clint, you can. It's called inverting sugar. It's inverted sugar is exactly how you do it, and the citric acid is just is a catalyst. But yeah, you break that bond and make inverted sugar. And it's very sweet. A lot of pastry chefs and a lot of other places use that. And you can use it for distilling too. It's really good. It's sweet. Yeast love it. But you just don't want to go too far. You don't want it to get yellow. You don't want to start caramelizing it. Yeah. It's good. Delicious. I can't either, Clint. I can't either, brother. Normal. I'm looking. Is that your name on YouTube? Normalized Audio. I'm not finding you on here, brother. I'm trying to find your channel. I was going to play your video on here, but your sugar video. If you can, if you want to post a link in here, you can. I usually tell people not to, but I'll make an exception for you. I'm glad you did, Steve. That's what we're here for, brother. I know, you know, if you're not a little bit intimidated or you don't have a little bit of fear the first time you do it, you might be crazy. I mean, it's, you know, there's a lot to it, and it's something that you're ingesting. So, you know, there's always, you know, if you're not thinking about it, you should be. Is it not letting you post a link? It might not let you. If so, send it to me. Somebody send it to me on Facebook. Normalize. I was going to show you sugar video. I don't know. I bet you the sweet and sour of Florida sugar. I will look that up. Let me look that up. The sweet and sour of Florida sugar. Let me Google that. Or let me look that up on YouTube. Right now, the sweet and sour of Florida sugar. Here we go. All right, nice. 12 minutes. All right, that ain't too bad. Here, let me see the link. Copy. I don't usually do this on here, so it might take me a second. Bear with me. I may just have to play it on my screen and share screen. That's the way I'm going to have to do it. We'll do it that way. That's cool. May enlarge that so it's all you can see. And then, all right, let me turn it this way. Bang. All right. Well, I knew he was going to do it. God bless America. All right, let's see.
Sugar, one of the world's oldest
There we go.
commodities. The first domestication of sugar, when the people of Papua New Guinea chewed it raw, date back to 8000 BCE.
Y'all hear that okay?
As the trade of sugar spread around the world, the processing and harvesting of it also circulated. Today,
Hey, Lisa.
one of the biggest sugar-producing regions on the planet lies here in South Florida, in a lush agricultural region known as Muck City.
I consider Big Sugar a blessing. They employ a lot of people. They're good for the soil. They're just good.
Belglade, Pahokee, and Clewiston, Florida form the hub of the Glades sugar-producing region, which is the largest in the U.S., with more than 15 million tons of sugar flowing from these fields each year.
I actually have a lot to thank.
Then my cousins used to raise cane.
I'm a first-generation American. Both my parents are from Jamaica. My dad was one of those migrant workers who traveled back and forth from Jamaica, who before they had these harvester machines, used to cut the cane manually with cane knives. And so it got my family to America.
But there's one aspect of the sugar business here that's not so sweet. Before harvesting, farmers typically set their fields ablaze, which reduces the cost of shipping and processing, a practice that started a heated debate.
And this has been ongoing. Their burning practices have changed. I remember as a kid They used to light the sugar cane on one side of the field and let it burn across. And it generated more debris and more smoke. Now what they do is they go around and burn the perimeter of the field, and it burns in and goes straight up, which then incinerates more of the vegetation. So you get a cleaner burn.
So what's the story and the reason why they burn the sugar cane, either to make it sweeter or the machine can get in there easier? I don't know, but for years, it's caused a lot of respiratory problems for a lot of people.
The cane fields are a blessing to many, they're a curse to others.
In South Florida, the agricultural business, especially the sugar business, is extremely vital to the economy.
We know when they go burn the sugar cane, they see a sugar cane burning, oh, that's income.
It's a good thing because it basically contributes to the economy.
I'd rather burn sugar than use fucking glyphosates on the damn wheat.
The Glades region of Palm Beach County is where 75% of sugar in Florida is grown. In every harvest season, nearly 500,000 acres of sugarcane are burnt, a pre-harvest ritual that has been practiced for decades and even generations. A controlled fire line is ignited across the sugarcane field. 25% of the plant stock is burned, including the tops, straw, and the green and dry leaves, all of which are referred to as trash.
The fire just burns away the leaves, and it leaves the stem and the stalk, which they harvest mechanically, cut it up in little pieces, take it to the mill. They put it through rollers, which squeezes the juice. And basically, they just get thousands of gallons of cane juice, heat it, and the water evaporates and the sugar crystallizes, and you kind of go from there.
The burn season typically begins late October, early November.
And it's 460,000 plus acres of sugarcane. So it takes them a while to burn and harvest all those cane fields.
This is indicative to the Glades area. When you ride through the Glades on the highway or just the street, back in the horizon, bushes and trees way back in the back, and you're going to see a cane patch burning somewhere.
There are benefits to burning. The burn kills microorganisms and eliminates the trash, both of which contribute to the richness of the dark soil, known as the muck.
This black ash is largely potash, and it's a very important part of fruits and vegetables. It is the source of fertilizer, but it goes into the atmosphere, and wherever the wind is blowing, eventually it falls.
One of the things about the harvest season here in the sugarcane country is they burn every day, Monday through Sunday, so there's no days off. So black snow during burn season here in the muck is as snow is in Antarctica. It's crazy because they're like these nice sized particle pieces that are just slowly falling down on your persons, on your property. It's not like it's a long period of time, but when it does happen, it's very prevalent. It could be as long as an inch or two long, and it gets on your clothes.
Like
When
coal
the black
ash here.
smoke rises from the burning sugarcane, it releases a myriad of hazardous compounds, including formaldehyde,
And that goes
carbon monoxide,
offshore.
and
You know,
ammonia,
it then goes.
which can result in respiratory distress, causing concerns from the communities to grow and raising a debate to adjust or change these ongoing burning practices.
We get this black ash that falls down in pieces, and since we don't get regular snow, that's what we call Pahokee snow.
You can see it on either side of the road. You can feel it because elements of the suit will actually permeate to your car. You kind of feel in your clothes a little bit. It has a major effect on anybody who comes in contact with the muck.
They've been dropping that ash on me personally for 53 years. I don't think it's healthy, to be honest with you. I can breathe in ash for 53 years and something not be wrong with you. Come on, man. If it get in my shirt right now, I can't get it out. So what if it getting in my lungs? You know what I'm saying? For 50 years. You talking 50 years, they burn it. Ever since I was a little boy, they've been burning it.
Then puts your COVID mask on.
Steve Messam is a local activist.
It's only for a
trying
few
to convince
days
the sugar
out of the year.
companies to transition from burning the sugar cane into green harvesting.
I'm actually a part of a campaign
green
that's
harvesting.
called Stop the Burn, Go Green. It's a very educational campaign about this green harvest approach that can help from an economic standpoint. People are having all of these health issues, and something has to give.
In Messham's eyes, the glades bear the brunt of the cane burning, while the wealthier communities on the other end of Palm Beach County are spared the smoke and black snow.
Whenever the wind is blowing east to our more affluential neighbors, they actually give them a courtesy and they don't burn. But when it's blowing west towards us here in the muck, they burn away. What about us? We literally have homes, high schools that are in cane fields, and they burn away. And our kids have to deal with it. Our residents has to deal with it. That's just something that I think is just ridiculous.
The burn permits are based on the direction of the wind and how strong and that kind of thing.
Put this in perspective, during the harvesting season, every morning during the season when growers apply for permits, if the wind would be projected to carry that smoke and ash towards the more affluent communities of eastern Palm Beach County, then a permit would be denied that day. However, when the winds would carry the smoke and ash towards the Glades communities in the Everglades agricultural area, then the growers can burn away with otherwise minimal regulations or protections put in place.
Agriculture
The
area
sugar
is much
industry
more
maintains
agriculture's
that
farm.
burning supports local jobs. Messam and his fellow advocates point to no-burn green harvesting.
Green harvesting,
which, in addition to keeping people employed in the fields, can turn the previously burned off leaves into biomass for making paper cups and plates.
There are some things moving in the right direction. We just gotta continue to educate, continue to advocate. We're not trying to take away jobs. No, we're actually talking about a win-win situation. Why not just go completely green harvest, use the leaves for mulch, use it for biofuel and biochar and other things to create more industry, which will be an added benefit to your bottom line. And it also will help this community with our unemployment rate, now giving them more consistent long-term jobs.
Biofuel still getting burned.
But across generations in the Glades, there are many who see the Stop the Burn campaign as a threat to local livelihoods.
The sugar industry has been deliberately maligned by certain groups that have their own political agenda with the sugar industry. We just happen to be caught
like
in the
that
middle.
screw worm they've been talking about, Steve. Read about that screw worm they talking about coming up from Mexico that they're worried about.
Let's not underestimate the importance of agriculture in Palm Beach County. You need this, because without agriculture, we don't have a lot of the amenities that you see here on the coast without the agriculture and the mud.
That's right.
I'm here with the Stop the Burn campaign, talking to people and letting them know about our campaign. And hopefully we can get more people engaged and active and want to know more so we can put more pressure on our leaders. We don't want no smoke. We don't want no sugarcane smoke. Do you guys have any kids who got like asthma?
I have
Yep. Does it flare up when they start burning and stuff?
Yep.
That's it.
And I have asthma myself.
You got asthma.
I have asthma.
We're not trying to shut them down. We just want them to be good neighbors. We'll love you guys and maybe stop by.
Yeah, I burn a lot too.
We got different events that we try to inform the community.
I definitely would stop by.
Having people complain about that smoke weed.
The Stop the Burn campaign has continued to share their message with local leaders, hoping to inspire change and to advocate the alternative benefits of green harvesting.
Think of it having a neighbor next to you who comes over to your property line and dumps over trash in your yard and then expects for you to pay for it out of your own dime. Well, that is what the Glades community has been experienced with this archaic practice of pre-harvest burning. And we're asking that the sugar industry be better neighbors by stopping the burning and going green harvest. One of the things we do to try to inform the community as well as our local and political leaders is we hold press conferences to talk about our campaign and to really kind of put a little bit more pressure on our leaders to take a stand and either choose a side as far as, what do you think our community needs that's going to help our community better?
We are confident that the more people know about this issue, the more pressure there'll be on the industry to do the right thing.
Talk about our recent data that we have about green harvesting in other countries, and even the state of Louisiana that's practicing this practice now, is creating more jobs. And why not us? Now, why not we can't pressure the sugar industry to become better neighbors for us?
Many countries like Brazil and Australia, who used to burn, now green harvest and find it more profitable.
Where green harvesting is carried out, not only is the sugarcane not burnt, but the trash is utilized as a soil strengthening mulch, in addition to also being utilized to create electricity.
I also know there's certain trees in Florida that require a burn before they grow.
This is definitely something that we've been trying to spread awareness about.
People need to come to the table and talk about how we need to do this, because we got causes on both sides. Well, I don't want to get sick from all the smoke and say, well, it's cheaper and easier for us to burn. I don't know.
We can change what some people may consider as trash and turn it to treasure. By using green harvesting, our kids don't have to deal with the black snow and the respiratory issues. By using green harvesting, creating more jobs, and we have a better quality life here in the month.
Good show, man. I'm glad you turned me on to that, brother. Let's see. Let me get it off of that and back on here. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, that's a good little informative. I like it, man. What's going on, Sawyer? Yeah, that's pretty good informative thing there, man. I'm glad you shared that with us. I'm going to try to find your page now that I got you on here. Let's see. Green lines out of there. Cool. I got you now. Subscribe, man. I'll watch it. I'll check out some of your stuff. Yeah, I like it. I like informative videos like that. Now, do you work in the do you work down there? Oh, that machine that's using it deal. Now, I will say we were talking about the glyphosate. They use that with wheat. They don't use it to kill the weeds. I know it's called Roundup, and it's used to kill weeds, and it does kill weeds. But the reason they use it with wheat is so they can harvest all the wheat at one time, right? So they use it to spray all over the whole wheat field, and you got wheat in different stages of growth, but it kills it all off and makes it, turn brown all at the same time, so they can harvest it all at once. And yeah, I don't care about copyrights. They wouldn't put it on there if they didn't want people to share it and get the word out. I wonder about, yeah, I mean, I don't make money, so it's not publicly broadcast for a profit or anything like that, because I don't make any money on my streaming and stuff. So it ain't used for a profit. When you rebroadcast for profit, they generally have a big problem with it. But if it's for educational purposes, a lot of times they won't say nothing, especially small like me. But do you work in the sugar canes down there? Because I'm interested. I know that I've talked to a lot of people that have talked about green cane, and I know my cousins used to raise cane, and I helped cut and press it. I used to have one of them big cast iron mills that a donkey would, walk around in circles on, and they didn't have a donkey. So it's always one of us push that thing, man, push that bar around in circles. It wasn't easy work either, but I didn't learn a lot about it, and I didn't, inquire a lot back then, as a kid then. But from my understanding is, when you harvest it green like that, its flavor is not as good as when they do the burn and harvest it that way. So it'd be interesting to see, as far as production wise, how much more. I think I picked up in that that it does increase production, and it might, help get the plant ready for it to be removed. So, yeah, I'd rather do the burn, than and then he talked about using it and then using their leaves as a biofuel. So that's the same thing. You're breaking leaves down, it's just in a different spot. But I can see, them wanting the winds to be. I don't think they're blowing the winds towards them because it's a poor community or there's fewer people, So I don't think it's because the rich people are here and the poor people are here in the agriculture community. I think it's because there's hundreds of thousands of people this way and 5,000 this way. I think that's why, they do that, because there's fewer people affected by it. But definitely something I'm going to do. Yeah, I figured, to debranch and to clean it and to get it. I'm just curious if the heat doesn't actually help get it ready to be removed, or make kind of sap it up a little bit to where it's a little easier to remove. It'd be interesting. Yeah, but I do know that it's the best thing for the soil, and I know a lot of farmers around here burn, so they can turn that stuff back into the soil, and that burn definitely helps the soil. It's been something that's been practiced for a long time. But I do remember seeing those, and I didn't know what it was. Back in the time, I thought it was just wildfires and stuff. But looking back now, I can see, yeah, it's probably burning cane. Yeah, that smell is bad. We had a paper plant in, I think it was Ashland, and it was bad too. And of course, they had a lot of petroleum there in Ashland too, Ashland oil. They had a paper place there too that stunk, and there was one in Western Kentucky, I think, that stunk pretty badly. But yeah, those paper plants, they stink. That's one thing I'm looking at, all these floods, taking out all these trees and all this debris and stuff. And, mulch that up, man. Everybody should be in there cutting that stuff, run it through the mulcher, bag that shit up, take it, make the pulp, get the paper. Why just let it go to waste, man? I mean, I guess it rots and goes back into the ground, so it really doesn't get wasted. But, mulch that shit up and get some use out of it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good little video, brother. I'm glad you shared it with us. Yeah. Maybe we'll do a little bit more videos like that, instructional videos and stuff. You ever, we had a place here that made like peanut butter, a GF plant here in Lexington. And that that didn't smell good either, them cooking that peanut butter. And I don't know if they was burning shells or exactly what the hell they was doing. I don't know, but it didn't smell very good. But there's a GF plant right here in Lexington, and it stinks. There's something else over there close to where I worked. I don't know if it was a coffee. There was a coffee place that made coffee and roasted coffee and stuff. Oh, dark, man. You bad. You bold. Fishy smell telling her to wash up. Oh, hell. You lucky, man. You still got neck. Yeah, I am a little bit tired, man. I've been tired all day. I got up pretty well, went to bed late, got up early. I haven't been feeling very good the last few weeks. I need to get my sleep regulated. A lot of times I've been staying up late and sleeping in. One of the good things about semi-retirement, but I got too much shit to do. I got to start getting up, trying to get stuff done. I have to push myself. Yeah, I ain't gonna say it. I think I'm not gonna say it. Oh, I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna make nobody mad. Go downtown and come back with a bunch of women on a string. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Y'all get me in trouble. Yeah, I wonder what some of the tales they tell them. And you know, that's one thing they talk about, that smoke going west towards the agricultural community. It's been an agricultural community for, you know, a century. So if they aren't involved in agriculture, you know, they have the option of relocating. You know, I'm not saying like or leave, but you know, but I've seen the smoke, and yeah, it can be bad. But I mean, they do it all in one one week or two. So it's not like it's a constant thing every day for that throughout the year. They only do it once a year for a few days, and it's done. You know, for a week or two, maybe. I don't know how long it takes to get it done. Nah, man, they like it when you kid with them like that. They leave us because we don't listen to what they say. Don't let them boss us around. Yeah, I know Florida gets through those series of wildfires down there every time the lightning strikes, but you know, there's a lot of specific types of trees down there that require it, you know, for the seeds to actually germinate and grow and actually pop out of their pod and grow. You know, that requires a fire. Yeah, that's why we have two holes, in and out. But yeah, I think maybe I'll try to find some instructional videos on here and maybe. Oh, I appreciate your link, Steve. I didn't even see that till just now. Yeah, I think we'll do. You do a biochar, cool. Now I know that's supposed to say current. Oh, dark, man. Oh, current wife. Yeah. Mine's awesome, man. I couldn't be. God sent me an angel and he sent my woman. She said, like I was talking, when I spit that watermelon, I mean, it smells, you know, it's got the butyric acid, you know. And oh God, that kitchen floor and the carpet, it got the carpet. And so like, it's okay, honey. I cleaned it up. Don't worry about it. It's not that bad. Not that bad, man. It was fucking horrible. Most women would have been bitching there and going on, oh, you're going to clean that shit up. I ain't doing it. I'm sick of that. No, not her, man. She's positive and she'll sit there and clean it up and sing. You know, not another woman like her, man. I tell you, Lord sent me an angel, baby. Ferment your biochar and fish emulsion. And man, y'all, what are you talking about? Fish emulsion. That's great for healthier. So yeah, that's I was gonna say that's great for the garden. I didn't know you. Oh, I've seen them. Actually, I've seen them take low grade molasses and ferment that with worm castings and biochar and fish emulsion, a lot of different things for your plant. It's real good. Yep, yep. Worm castings too, if you can get them. I know they're pretty pricey. Now. Best thing to do is if you ever find somebody got an old refrigerator or something getting rid of, and in an area that doesn't mind it, you put them things on their back and start your worm farm. That some bitch, man. Right. No, not the distill. No. That'd be cool too. Just put your racks right in there, man. Lift the top off and just, hell yeah. For the corn, yeah, it gets distilled. Yeah, let's have some of that corn that fella's growing down there in Florida. Northern Florida, Southern Georgia. I hope he gets in a group and I mean he find somebody buy it shit off of him pretty quick. There's a lot of people in the area. Hell yeah. Yep. Yeah. I got him on with a cooler full of smallmouth bass too. He's still fishing in there in Dale Hollow. Yeah. I tell you what, you find some of these auctions, man. They sell some of these stainless steel tables pretty cheap for what they are. I know to try to buy one new for your restaurant or whatever, expensive as fuck, but you know, to pick one up used. Also, distilling equipment. If you ever decide to go legal, don't ever buy new equipment. Don't you dare go out and buy new equipment. There's so many people going bankrupt because they have a dream and they made a little bit of liquor in their beverage, and all of a sudden they're going to be professionals, and they don't have the knowledge and they don't have the time and experience. So they go from bever to banker, and they borrow money and invest in in a lot of stuff, and go into business and without knowing much about the business. And yeah, trying to buy that stuff new, very expensive. And there's so many of them going out of business. There's auctions all the time. Yeah, she's your bagger. You got to ride more. I push mine. I'm getting old. I've got to ride more. I never used it. It's my fiance's. We brought it here, and I've never used it the first time. It sat in my garage for 7 years. I don't get a lot of exercise as much as I should, and mowing that grass is, and walking and what little I do that's some of the exercise I get, these days. That's good, Larry. Tim, come on over and join us. We'll teach you how to make some liquor. Yeah, Facebook Marketplace has a lot of good deals, and they also list a lot of the auctions in Facebook. A lot of these different auctions everywhere. I just sent some. Jay and Amanda, they're getting ready to open up that Unholy Distillery and Unholy Beginnings Distillery, and I sent them an auction. They were so happy. They're like, "Oh my God!" Because the prices in that thing right now are so cheap. I don't care what they say, brother. What they say about me, man? What's going on, Dave? Appreciate it, brother. Hope you're doing all right, man. You do the same, brother. Take care. Well, I reckon there's a reason they're doing it in Discord and they ain't coming on this channel doing it. They don't want to poke the bear. Yeah, I've definitely thought about going legal. I'd love to do it. I've thought long and hard about it, but I don't know. If I maybe 20 years ago. So they send a bunch of people over here trying to kick bot. Like, I'm gonna go to the Discord kick bot and get hacked or some stupid shit. Don't anybody go there. I'm on Discord. And if they want to say something about me, this is an open channel. They come right on in here and kick. We're streaming the kick. So invite them on over. They can talk all they want to. That's all it is. Guarantee they won't say it at a festival. Yeah, I love Discord too. I play Call of Duty and we use Discord to talk while I'm playing, kicking ass in Call of Duty. Man, they send away people over here to, yeah. That's how they attract people to come into this Discord and then try to hack them and shit. I'm on Kick, bro. They can come on Kick and talk this shit if I want to. I don't care. Oh, I've run on wood fires. It takes a while. You got to build up the coals. You don't want to run while it's a fire. You use mostly coals. I guess if you have like they did on the show, like built a brick oven around the damn thing, man, it's something else the way they did that. We just we use coals and rocks. Yeah, I'd love to be able to do it, but partners, brother, oh Lord, business partners, ruin some of the best friendships and family, Lord, I'd hate to do it. No. Well, it's getting about that time. Yeah, well, Discord, it's kind of it's cool. It's pretty. It's not real user friendly, and there's not a lot of people on it, and most in the community probably never even heard of it, much less ever used it. We stream to Kick. There's not a whole lot on Kick and Twitch, but we stream to those and Rumble if they want to set it up. I don't with Rumble because it's so difficult. But if they're going to sit there and do that, I'll just go ahead and we'll just go ahead and turn Kick off. How about that? Bye-bye. So that was the easy one. We're about done with the stream anyway. So we'll just shut her down a little bit early. Get a bunch of trolls on there. I'll jump on there in a little bit, give them some shit. In fact, I'll jump on there right now since the folks coming on. Yeah, they just send a wave of them over. Let's all go over to this Kick channel and get him on our Discord and get him to click this link. Yeah. I don't think so. Yeah, I watch. I don't know if you ever watch Ghost on there. It's RS. It's Ghost. He streams Call of Duty, and I get on there a lot. And I play with them sometimes. And yeah. I'm not real familiar with Discord. I got my server set up, and we use it for game chat, and that's about it. I don't really do much anything else on there. Not Roy, bud. Good seeing you, man. I guess we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Well, hopefully we'll see you Saturday, but you coming? Oh, that's right. You're not going to be able to make it to Maggie, are you? I remember now seeing your post. That sucks. Yeah. Yeah, Steve, send me one. Mine, I don't use mine at all. I use it to watch other people and get in their Discords and to game chat on. But as far as mine and my server and stuff, absolutely nothing. I think I got like 4 friends on there. One of them's my daughter. Yeah, send me a link on Facebook. All right, y'all. I guess we're going to shut her down. It's good to see everybody. Missed y'all Saturday. I guess we'll see you all Friday night on the shit show or Saturday night, 8 o'clock, same back channel. And if you want to, Thursday night, jump on there and see the gals doing their thing. Thursday. Or go over and check out Cyrus. I may check see what's going on over there once. See what those fellas up to. I'd really like to meet Cyrus. I mean, we've been on we admin in some of the same groups and stuff, and I guess kind of back and forth with that kind of things. But we never really sat down and talked too much or met him in real life. I'd like to meet him. Seems like a pretty cool dude for sure. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in, and I guess I will see you. Everybody, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and hearts and all that good stuff, and share the links with some of your friends. if they're wanting to, learn to distill and stuff, that's what we're here for, especially for beginners and stuff. We do touch on some intermediate and advanced stuff, but mostly focus on beginning stuff, and it's all pretty, rudimentary and basic. There is some high science to it, but that's, that's pretty not very common discussions. There's some really, specific things people do to change their distillate, but it's not, there's really not much beyond the basics. Just learning to do it and learning the science of it and learning why. But beyond that, I mean, it's not that advanced. I mean, for some people, it seems pretty difficult and advanced. But once you have it explained in layman terms, it becomes a lot less scientific and a lot more understandable. And it's the same thing, but it's just using different words. There's certain ways that you can do it to just overwhelm people. They'll be like, oh, talking about exogenous enzymes and all this, that, and the other, and it sounds really impressive and scientific, and talking about Saccharomyces cerevisiae and using a lot of scientific terminologies for the yeast and all these other things, but it's really fundamental and basic, once you put it in easy terms. So that's what we're here for. We're here to help people get started and learn and learn the basics and be safe, because it is intimidating, when if you're smart and you're thinking, well, this is something I'm going to be ingesting, so I don't I need to take proper care, especially when you start looking at some of these fermentations, some of these muck pits and stuff. It's like, you drink that, and you see some of these lacto infections and stuff, and they're like, oh, and you smell some of that butyric acid, and it's like, it smells like vomit. There's no way, and it's like 3 months later, they distill it and they get a good fruity pineapple, taste of it. It's like, there's no way that puke now tastes like that, right? So that's what we're here for. We're not here to train, master distillers and to become better masters or anything like that. I know, there's little things that they can learn and we can learn from them, but love beginners. So send if you got any buddies that are wanting to get involved and get involved in it and learn, send them to the militia and send them here, and we can get them on the right path for sure. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, we'll see y'all Friday on the shit show, and Saturday night we'll be back. I may try to find some more videos to show. That's kind of cool, fun, sit and talk. But I may do it where I can show a little bit and then pause and talk about it and explain some things and show a little bit more. That was kind of fun doing that. Y'all enjoy watching the videos and stuff? Yeah, I think it'll be kind of fun. Something a little different, mix it up a little bit. So between now and then, I'll try to find something entertaining to learn with. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you this weekend. Shine on.